So quick video, Jamie, for you, so you can see how the building glitches and stuff work. Obviously, I've seen that you know a few of them. If you look there, you see the fridge and then that fireplace there. I've glitched them into the building. Same for this sink. So for that, you have to use the campfire because I've already put those floors down, and then you sink a post into the campfire using the rug glitch as well. And you'll see in a minute you'll see the pillar and the rug glitch used together so that I can position the walls and the floors and stuff like that. So obviously I don't know, I saw in your message earlier you said that you've built a whole building. I imagine you've done that on one of the empty plots. These houses are a real pain to sort of refurbish. There's not even any point trying to do the roofs because you can do it, but it requires a lot of messing around, and as well as that it just wastes up space that you need for the capacity for the whole settlement. So in my opinion it's not really worth doing it. You know, just get the roofs, because you need the roofs, otherwise it doesn't count the beds for the settlers as being sheltered. So you have to put some kind of either upper floor or a roof in the building for it to count as it being sheltered for the beds. Otherwise your happiness in the settlement will keep going down and you won't know why. So what I'm doing here is I'm starting to do this is me, I'm preparing to do the roof, and hopefully if this turns out okay, which it does, you'll slot it into the house, and you should basically, when you go in and look up, you know, you'll be able to see that the ceiling's there, but it doesn't like stick out of the building or look unnatural or anything like that. So you notice there I put the floor shack down, and that's just to raise the wall up a little bit, to raise the ceiling up a little bit. And the reason that you have to do that is because you can put the ceiling in without doing that, but what will happen is later on when you go to put the walls in, the ceiling will be too low, so the walls won't clip in without an extreme amount of messing around. So it's better to raise it up a little bit naturally, and then you'll find it easy to get the walls in later. And then you can see there I got out two different posts. There's a shorter one and a longer one. I find it easier to work with. Well, it just depends on what you're doing really and where you need to slot something into. But what you have to do is you put the rug down, the pillar next to it, and that has to be away from whatever you're gonna drag in the first place. And then you group select the rug and the pillar by holding X, and then you lift it up and raise it a bit. If you do it right at the bottom of whatever it is that you're trying to lift, it will, because it's on a rug, it will automatically raise whatever that item is, and then when you try to drop it into whatever you're slotting it into, it will drop it back down, so it won't actually look right. So that's why I tend to use the pillar as well, even when I don't necessarily need to. If you make any mistakes, if you're playing, you're not on survival, you're just playing normal, just save like after you've done each section. So like when you've got the roof in, save, and then when you go to do the walls, save after that. Because if you make any mistakes, for me on survival, I have to get it right like each time, otherwise I have to redo like entire sections. So like you when you do your placement for the roof and stuff, you can afford to make a mistake on that because it's the first part. But afterwards, when you start slotting the walls in like I am now, say if I made a mistake here and then I realised that everything was sticking out at really odd angles, I'd have to drag out all the walls one at a time, because if I tried to group select the whole thing, it would drag out the entire thing, even the ceiling. Now, the reason that I'm turning the wall around there, and you'll notice here I'm doing it from outside and I'm not doing it from inside, is because every single one of the buildings in all of the settlements are completely different. So sometimes you can even build like an entire block of walls and then use the rug glitch to just put them into the frame of the house, but it doesn't work consistently across all the different houses and buildings. So for this one, you would have seen there a couple of minutes ago, I was trying to slot in using the normal rug glitch, but it wasn't doing it, it was just going red. But when you use the pillar and then do it from outside, because you're just using it from the ground, it will still go in. So this is just more of the same. I'm just grabbing the just repeating the rug and the pillar glitch for the walls. And sometimes you'll notice the reason it keeps jumping up like that is because of the camera angles. So it always jumps in and out. So sometimes you just have to kind of place it and then reset your camera angle, and then you'll be able to mess about again with it. You might already know this as well, but if you don't, whenever you've got an object, any object, singular or grouped object, if you hold X and then move the stick around, it will move the object around in front of you without you having to move your character physically. If you hold L1 and X and then lift the stick up and down, then it'll move it vertically up and down for you. And then I'm sure you know by now, L2 and R2 rotates objects as well. So I'm going to put the windows in now, and there's loads of different ways you can do this. There's not just that. There's walls that have got windows on them that you can use, but for this particular type of house, I prefer to use these windows normally. However, I've just noticed there that there's a part of that wall missing at the bottom, so instead I've just decided to put one of them on. But you know, if you wanted to do something different, you could just use a window wall. The reason I've chosen not to here is because it wouldn't really work, because I've had to block half of the window up already to fill in the corner of the house. So I've just decided to just leave it and just block that one completely, and then I'll just put windows on the other bits. And as you can see here, it's a really glitchy system. So sometimes it just doesn't wanna snap. So you have to like fiddle about with the height at which you've got the rug against the object. This is another reason why for a lot of the stuff where I'm glitching it through the walls, you don't necessarily need to, but I'll lift the rug like at least halfway up the wall just to give myself that sort of safety net, rather than wasting my time with the rug being right at the bottom and then me struggling and then having to just reset the whole process all over again. I'm getting annoyed here because the perfect placement of this wall, for example, would be like, so you can still see the blue tiles on the outside, but then when you go on the inside, the gaps are covered and you can see the inner detailing. But as I said, some of the houses are difficult, so you can't get it as in as you want to because it just won't snap in. So yeah, as you can see here, I've got that all set up now. That's all fine. And then I think what's about to happen here is I'm going to try and glitch the walls into the inside. Some houses it works straight away, like I've done it in the Lone Survivor's house, but here it's not working. Now the reason it's not working is because the ceiling's in, and the camera angle is affecting it. So because that's the camera angle thing there is what's making it jump up like it is. But if the object is red when you're trying to place it, then you can't move the object. You can only move it around when it's blue. So this is me trying. So I'm going to get it blue there, and then you saw there I just moved it, but it won't move up or down vertically or anything, and it's because the camera angle keeps making it go red. So I'm just like, oh, this isn't worth it, stuff it, don't need it, don't care, and I'm probably going to move on with my day in a second. So now we move on to the windows. As I said, you can use the ones where the window is part of the wall. It doesn't matter which way you do it, there's many ways to skin a cat. The reason that I don't use the windows with the walls on them for these buildings though is because a lot of the windows on the front of these houses, they're so that one's a flat one, but I think the other one is like a bay window. It sticks out forward, so if you used to put the window wall in, it would just stick out at the front and it would look ridiculous. So I use the warehouse windows instead. I don't know if you caught it earlier as well in the video, but the posts that you need, so you get them in the miscellaneous part of the warehouse section, and the rugs, you know, I'm sure you know, but they're just in the floor coverings for the display. Doors are awkward. So some of the buildings you can just slot a door straight onto it, no problem. The Lone Survivor's house is a good example of this. Some of the buildings you have to put a door frame in, and some of the buildings it just won't accept it no matter what you do, and this is an example of that. So I tried this for a couple of minutes and it just doesn't work, even though I got the wall slotted in perfectly. And here, this was me, I had a brainwave and I'm like, oh, did I put a door frame on the last one? And as you can see there, I didn't. All I had to do was just slot the door in. But this one, it won't let you do that, as you can see. So I'm trying to use one of our own door frames and try and do it that way. But it's not going to work. So as you can see here, I matched the door frame up perfectly. You can actually see the highlight of the door frame sticking out perfectly. And then you've got to put the door on. And it just won't start. It just doesn't have it. So some of them you just kind of have to, you can either block it with a complete wall maybe, or just keep it open. I'm just keeping it open because my settlement in itself is pretty secure anyway. So I've basically built this one as I've got each of the houses I've repaired, or most of them I've repaired. I've only got 2 left to do after this one, and each serve a function. So most of them are like merchants basically. And then this one here, I actually did it last night, and then as soon as I ran out of the compound, because there's like I've built so much stuff in the game now, it's causing crashes. So I've had to redo it. So you've actually given me a good opportunity to redo this. So this room that I'm building, sorry, the house that I'm refurbishing, I've decided that it's going to be the sort of the fun zone. So I'm going to put all arcade cabinets in it and stuff like that. And then now you're going to see me put the floor in. Now the reason that you need the pillar for this is because you have to sink the floor into the building, and you can't do that with just a rug. And then, as you notice as well, I'm stood further back from the floor. Now the reason I'm doing that is so that I can see the edge of it against the building, so that I can line it up perfectly. And just remember what I said about saving between each section, because if I would have made a mistake here, so I've actually done that really well. When I look around the edges, none of it's sticking out or anything, so that's really good. If I was to have made a mistake there, I would have had to take out every single one of those floor pieces individually, because if I group selected it, it would select everything, the walls, the ceiling, all of it. And then now this is just basic lighting I'm setting up. So you might already know this, so forgive me if you do. But you can basically set up wireless lighting. Now bear in mind, this only works, what I'm doing here, it only works for just basic lighting. So just light bulbs and stuff like that. There's the odd appliance it works for, like doors and like automatic powered doors and stuff like that, but not much else. So yeah, you can put these connectors on, and I know you're familiar with these because I think you mentioned it in your message earlier for placing stuff. But you just wire it up around the outside, and as you saw there, we only connected one small generator. And as long as the connectors are within the radius of whatever it is that you're going to power inside the building, it'll power it, lighting wise anyway. For other stuff, I did actually have this video longer because I put all the arcade machines in, but then I ran into some problems because you have to wire the machines directly. You can't do it wirelessly. But as you can see there, there's no wires on the lighting, but it just works, and that's because it's because of the conduits that are outside. And then I saw the disco ball and I thought, oh, that's going to be awesome for an arcade room. So I swapped them around because this is where the arcade machines are going to go. I don't know what the deal is with these projector lights. So I put that one down, and you can see that the lightning bolt's blue, which means it's got power. But when you look at the floor and the light itself, it doesn't seem like it's working. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if there's something wrong with it. I don't know what that's about. So I just abandoned that idea. It was pointless. I messed around with it a bit first, but nah. And then you see the light there, so that lamp should have come on, but it hasn't because there's not the conduits aren't providing enough coverage around the house. I thought that I'd done enough, so just put a couple more on the front. And because it's on the front, you know, they're only small. It's not an eyesore. It doesn't ruin the interior look of your building either. So just wire it up. Again, this is all coming from just that one tiny generator at the back, and then that's it. It lights it up.